Good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to another session of Sqanning, Sqanning, which is a relaxation technique which utilizes a process called the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical and mental calm. So welcome back. As I've mentioned before, I try to do 3 sessions a day, around 11, 4, and 8. I don't always get them in, and they're not always exactly at that time. However, that is the goal. And these techniques, this process, these sessions are to basically reinforce the technique. A lot of you will have been here before and you'll pretty much know it. It's very simple. You'll learn it in a minute and you'll be done. You can go on your way or stick around to kind of go through it and talk about the particulars of the technique. So today's going to be a little different because what I'm going to do is try not to talk too much about the ideas behind the technique, but just practice the technique. I found that what's most beneficial is inducing that deep state of physical and mental calm. It's more important that you feel the benefit than that you understand the technique. So I'm going to try to keep the chat to a minimum and just jump right in because, as I said, what I always find ultimately at the end of every session that what's most beneficial for me, because I am taking myself through this technique along with you, is that you just do it. But in brief, it's a very simple technique for inducing an incremental release of tension throughout the body. And that in turn induces a deep state of physical calm and mental calm. And it's a purely physical approach. There's no rationale or reason or logic to it necessarily. It's a strictly physical approach, which coincidentally and beneficially takes the mind along with you. As your body relaxes, so will your mind. So let's just get started. Take a deep breath. Exhale. And as you exhale, just transport whatever tension you're feeling in the moment out of your body. And 90%, I like to say, of this technique is developing a strong awareness of the sensations of release, studying what it feels like to release tension, becoming familiar, becoming an expert with the sensations of release. And the way we do that is this, very simply. Start by clasping your hands together. Gentle pressure, and take a mental and physical note of what that feels like. Now we're going to contrast that on my count to a sense of release, complete release of the hands and by association the body. And I want you to take note of the difference. Clasping, 3, 2, 1, release. And then sit and register how that feels. I always say the hardest part of this process is getting started because to be still is sometimes challenging. But I challenge you to sit and just register what that felt like. To just release an incremental amount of tension. Let's do it again. Squeeze the hands together. Note that sensation, what it feels like. Requires a certain amount of effort, a certain amount of concentration. And on my count, you're going to completely release it and take particular note of how your body changes when you have that sensation of release passing through your body. 3, 2, 1, release. Deep breath. Step 1 is the clasp and release. Step 2 is the deep breath and exhalation. Step 3 is just sitting in stillness and quiet and paying attention to what's happening in your body. How that sense of release is changing your body, how it feels. And it's incremental. It's very small at first, but that's all we're trying to do, is incrementally, very gradually and slowly and incrementally release muscular tension. Your body, your muscles respond better to gentle suggestions, gentle coaxing. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to say, just release this much tension. Register what that feels like, and then do it again. Let's try it again. Gently clasp the hands together. 3, 2, 1, release. Let that sense of release pass through your body. Feel it in your chest, your back, your stomach, your pelvis, your legs, your feet. Deep breath. Step 3, sit in stillness and quiet and register, pay attention, take note of how that sensation of release has changed your body. 15 seconds. Deep breath. And another 15 seconds. Sit in stillness and quiet and focus in on what you're feeling as you look to incrementally release muscular tension throughout your body. Deep breath. And part of this process is allowing your body to take over, giving into your body. And what that means is if you receive an impulse to take a deep breath, just like as if you've been at the bottom of a pool picking up coins and suddenly your body says, time to surface, follow that impulse, go to the surface, take a breath. So now just take note of how you feel. How are you different now from when you started 2 minutes ago? Before you had incrementally released the smallest amount of tension in your hands, in your chest, in your back, in your face. Deep breath. And there's many endeavors we undertake in life. Some are more intellectual and some are more visceral and physical. This is definitely on that scale a more visceral, more physical endeavor. And by that I mean this isn't a process that you think about so much as experience. So it's very important that you tune into what your body is feeling, every part of your body. And now you're learning to incrementally release tension, the smallest amount, on your own command. So that means that in those moments of contemplation and stillness, if you discover a pocket of tension, say in your neck, do your own count. 3, 2, 1, releasing in the neck, release. Generally, when you incrementally release any muscle in your body, it will respond by sending you a signal to take a deep breath because you've indicated to your body that it's safe, you've dropped your guard, you've undone the ties that bind you, and you're freer. So take that breath. But again, pay attention to where you are now as you're tuning into your body, discovering pockets of tension. Let's do the neck again. Focus on what you feel in the neck as a possible source of tension. And on my count, you're going to incrementally release the smallest amount of tension from your neck. Here we go. Focusing, 3, 2, 1, release. And sit with that feeling. Indulge it, study it, stay in that space. Deep breath. Now I always start this session, these sessions, with a technique, with a process that I take you through. But what you'll find is as you become more and more relaxed, as you release more and more tension from your body, as you're feeling more comfortable in just sitting in stillness and nothingness, you'll find that you've forgotten why you're here, and you'll feel no compulsion to do any technique, any routine. You'll just want to be. That's the goal. So if you feel yourself inching towards that sensation of just wanting to sit and do nothing, indulge that feeling. That's where we're headed. That's where we want to go, to a place of nothingness. Deep breath. We're going to do this one more time, and then we're going to move into a more specific approach to the technique. And that will be concentrating on specific areas of the body. But one more time, clasp the hands together, feel that clench, pay very close attention again. 90% of this technique is a heightened awareness, is heightening your awareness of your sensations and how your body functions and how it feels. So pay close attention to how it feels to clench your hands together. In contrast, to what you're going to do in my count of 3 when you're going to completely release that tension. And I want you to pay attention to that difference, what that feels like. Here we go. Clenching. 3, 2, 1, release. And let that sense of release pass through your entire body. Deep breath. Still, quiet observation, 15 seconds. Deep breath. So if you're just coming into this session, you might find it puzzling that there's a lot of nothing going on. That's the goal. The goal is to take your busy, hyperactive, tense, constricted, contracted self into a place where you are released, relaxed, expanded, clear-headed, still, and quiet. That's the goal. That's the destination. And the farther into this process we get, the quieter I will get, the more still I will become, and hopefully you will feel the same. Here we go again. Gently clasping the hands together on my count. 3, 2, 1, release. Let that sense of release pass through your entire body. Deep breath. Still, quiet observation. Pay attention to the changes that are occurring as a result of those 2 steps. Now here's where we're going to get more specific. You've achieved a certain degree of stillness and quiet and release. You've incrementally released your bodily tension, perhaps 4%, maybe more, hopefully. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You've moved yourself into a direction of calm and release. You're on your way. You've reversed the treadmill. You're coming back into yourself, where you can just be and exist and listen to the beating of your heart and feel the throbbing of the blood as the blood vessels open up, the circulation increases, your blood pressure drops. So you've achieved a certain amount. You've covered a certain amount of ground. Hi, Richard. Good to have you back, man. So now we're going to take it a little further. And I want you to take that process of release into specific parts of your body. And now you're beginning to get a sense that you can focus on, let's say, the neck. And you can say, I want to incrementally release the tension in my neck 1%. That's such an infinitesimal amount, but you can do it. You can do it. Consciously feel the tension. Heighten your awareness of what that feels like, and on my count, I want you to release the tiniest amount of tension from your neck. I just want you to make a change, any change. Here we go. Feeling the tension in your neck. 3, 2, 1, get ready, release. Such a subtle shift, but that's all that's required, is a subtle, incremental release of tension. Tiny, tiny, tiny amounts. So now I'm going to take you through what I call the 8 zones, 8 release zones. Nothing special about my technique. These are just observations I've made that I've kind of codified into a system. You can certainly adapt it to your own body and to your own needs. But I'm attempting to incrementally release the tension throughout my entire muscular being, which will in turn clear my mind. So let's work through the body now. Zone 1, the face. Focus on your face. You might feel a certain amount of tension in your brow, your jaw, your cheeks, your mouth. On the count of 3, you're going to incrementally release the tension in your face. A tiny, tiny amount. All I want you to do is experience a shift from tension to relax, from contraction to release. Ready? Focus on the face. 3, 2, 1, get ready, and release. Deep breath. I always feel my jaw fall open a little bit and my brow just sort of, the skin just sort of fall. And I want you to indulge that feeling, really pay attention to that difference, how that felt, and we're going to do it again. Focusing on zone 1, the face. Feeling the tension that's in your face. 3, 2, 1, get ready to completely release. Now again, nothing earth-shattering, but we've moved our body that much closer to a deep state of complete relaxation. That's all we're doing, is inching forward. The body must be gently persuaded. And that's the face. So just check back, see how that feels. One more time. Feel the tension in the face. You're going to incrementally shift it towards release. 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. That's zone 1. So now we move on to zone 2. And you may already feel other parts of your body relaxing in sympathy with the area you're working on. The body is a unit. It's a unified being. It wants to be in sync with itself. It doesn't like to be at war with itself. So when it feels a shift happening in one part of its body, it generally will start to align itself to follow suit. Sometimes you'll just only get into 2 zones or a little bit in, and you'll start to feel your entire body relaxing. That's excellent. Go with that. That's part of the process. The body will begin to take over. So we've done the face. Now we're going to go to what I call zone 2, the skull. Just take a moment to pay attention to whatever tension you may feel in your skull. You may not think you carry tension in your skull. That's fine, but there may be some there. And on my count, you're going to completely release the muscles of your skull, the top of your head, and pay very close attention to what that sensation feels like as it spreads through the rest of the body. Focusing on the top of the head. 3, 2, 1, release. Deep breath. One more time. The top of the head. 3, 2, 1, release. And just staying in that sensation for 15 seconds. Deep breath. And again, 90% of this technique is observation. It's heightening your awareness of the sense of release. Studying it, indulging it, trying it out, seeing how it feels, going a little further, incrementally moving yourself towards a complete sense of relaxation and release. So now we've done the face and the top of the head. And I don't know about you, but I already feel, I'm starting to already have feelings in those places where I wasn't feeling anything. I'm suddenly aware of the skin on the top of my head and face. It's a subtle shift, but take note. Register it, your muscle memory. You're going to want to come back to it. The back of the head, what I call the cap, zone 3. Think about what tension you can feel in the back of your head. And I've found that the more fully you concentrate on the sensations in the muscles in the body, the less inclined your mind is to fret or worry about whatever particular subject you happen to be fretting and worrying about. So it's another way to clear your mind by putting your complete focus and concentration into this muscular task. It's very simple. Muscles can either contract or release. All you're asking them to do is release. Back of the head. Bring your focus there, and on my count, you're going to completely relax the tension in the back of your head to the greatest ability you have. 3, 2, 1, ready, and release. Take a deep breath. Generally, when you release any part of the body, any muscular area of the body, your body is going to want to take a breath. It takes that release as a signal to breathe, so take advantage of that opportunity and breathe. Back of the head. Again, feeling an awareness of the tension in the back of your head. 3, 2, 1, focus and release. Deep breath. And sit in stillness and quiet observation for 15 seconds and note how those changes make you feel. Deep breath. So by now, you should feel as though a wave of relaxation is starting to come over your body. As I said, the body is not separate units. It's a unified organism. And it acts in sympathy with itself. So if one part of you starts to relax, the rest of the body you weren't even working on may start to relax. because the body is subject to your suggestion, and it also knows what feels good, and it wants to go there. So now I'm beginning to feel already a deeper relaxation in other parts of my body. So we've done the face, the top of the head, which I call the skull, the back of the head, which I call the cap. And now we're going to do the neck. Focus on the neck. Whatever tension you feel, become hyper-conscious of it. Really focus. And on my count, you're going to release an incremental amount of tension from your neck. The slightest amount. Just enough to detect a difference. 3, 2, 1, release. And again, 3, 2, 1, the neck, release. Deep breath. Quiet, still observation, 15 seconds. Pay attention to the change that just occurred in your body. Deep breath. If by chance you fall asleep, because sometimes that happens, that's fine. Sometimes we're so tired and tense, we don't even know how tired we are. And when we give our body an opportunity to just completely let go, it's so grateful. All the things I'm describing, all the words I'm using, all the actions I'm taking, these are all just vehicles to take you to a place of still, quiet release. Once you're there, you don't have to do this anymore at all. You're there. Stay in that place. These are just techniques to help get you there. The incremental release of muscular tension is a gradual, gentle way to ease the tension in the muscles of the various areas of your body and eventually your entire body, which in turn quiets and relaxes your mind. So we've done the face, the top of the head, the back of the head, and the neck. This whole upper portion of you is that much more released. Now moving into the shoulders. We carry a lot of tension in our neck and shoulders, so become aware of the tension in your shoulders, and on my count, you're going to incrementally release that tension. 3, 2, 1, release. And that's a big one. We carry a lot of tension there. And again, 3, 2, 1, release. Deep breath. 15 seconds. Still, quiet observation. Note the changes that have just taken place in your shoulders. Encourage, reinforce, restate those changes. Feel them. Deep breath. Now, there are those who might consider this technique boring. Good. It's not meant to be exciting. It's not meant to be gratifying in an active sort of way. You're not reaching outside yourself to achieve fulfillment. You're not ingesting, you're not observing, you're not reading, you're not talking, you're not doing anything but coming back to a place of just being. So some might consider that boring, uninteresting, and very difficult because who are we if we're nothing? Who are we if we've let go of all the activities we've been participating in? If we've stopped thinking about our titles, our jobs, our money, our food, who are we? Well, the answer is you're yourself. And if you can come to a place where you're just yourself, where you're just being, it's incredibly calming. Because at that moment, you really feel that there's nothing at this moment you need to do, to be, to say, in order to exist, in order to be satisfied in yourself. If you can just sit in absolute nothingness and feel satisfied with the beating of your heart, with the sense of breathing, with the sensation you're feeling in your newly relaxed limbs, the throbbing of the blood as it courses more openly through your body, if you can just sit in that stillness and feel satisfied, you've arrived. You've come back to yourself at your bare minimum. The essence of yourself is just a creature being. And it can be not only wonderful but thrilling. To be self-satisfied, to be satisfied to just be. And that's where we're going with this process. So let's do it again. We've done the face, the top of the head, the back of the head, the neck, and the shoulders. We're now going to move into what I call zone 6. And that is the armor, the chest, down into the stomach. Concentrate on whatever tension you have in that area, and on my count, you're going to incrementally release the smallest amount of tension from that area. From your chest down to your stomach and into the front of your waist. 3, 2, 1, ready, release. Still, quiet observation. What does that feel like? And again, the stomach, the front of the chest down into the waist. 3, 2, 1, release. Deep breath. And now into the back and the pelvis. And this portion covers all the way from your shoulder blades down into your back, your lower back, and into your waist and pelvis. Concentrate on whatever tension you might be feeling in that area. And on my count, you're going to incrementally release the smallest amount of tension from that zone. 3, 2, 1, release. Deep breath. And finally, we're moving into zone 8, which is the legs into the feet. Become conscious of the tension in your legs and your feet. And on my count, you're going to release. 3, 2, 1, release. Deep breath. Quiet, still observation of those sensations, how you feel, and what will you feel different now than you did 5 minutes ago, now that you've released an incremental amount of tension throughout your entire body. And as one last hurrah, I want you to put your entire body together. I want you to have a sense of wholeness and self. Your body from the tip of your head, top of your head, down through your neck, into your shoulders, your chest, your back, your hips, your pelvis, your legs, and your feet. And we're going to do an incremental release on my count. 3, 2, 1, complete release, release. And sink into your chair and let that sense of release sweep over your body. Deep breath. Again, if you're just coming into this session, you might wonder what's going on. And what's happening is we're working our way, we're incrementally moving ourselves towards a place where we can sit in stillness and quiet, just experiencing the beating of our heart, the breathing of the lungs, the blood flowing through your limbs and your muscles, the throbbing sensation in your extremities as your blood flow increases and passes more easily into those areas. And you're moving into a calm sense, a physical calm, a mental calm. And we do this technique to, number one, get ourselves to that place, and number two, reinforce its value, because we tend to forget the value of just being. Because what we're trying to do is bring balance back into our lives. We spend a lot of time contracting, and by contracting I mean working, talking, arguing, socializing, all the things we actively do, all the situations in life we try to create. We bring things together to make an experience or an opportunity for ourselves so that we can survive and thrive. We spend a lot of time creating those contractions, those structures. But to have balance in our life, we need to equally unravel, unwind, relax, expand. If this is you, and this is your life, and you're forming these things, and you're developing a personality and money and a job, eventually you will contract to a place where you're solid. You've lost all ability to be open to new ideas and sensations. And when you're solid, it's very difficult for you to merge or learn from any experience. You begin to enter situations in life with a rigidity, a solidity that makes it difficult for you to thrive. So what we do in this process is relax, expand, open, so that we can more easily merge. We are seemingly solid, but in reality, anyone who's studied physics or chemistry knows that at our deepest essence, we're just atoms, and atoms themselves even are just bundles of energy. So we really are just permeable. It doesn't seem that way. And we want to acknowledge that aspect of ourselves and balance our life so that we can contract and expand and contract and expand. And this is a way of getting yourself back to being an expanded, open, released, at peace being, so that you can then go back into your routine with a certain calm, a certain ease. That's all we're trying to do, is expand, to breathe, to relax, to bring ourselves back to nothingness so that we can experience how wonderful it is to feel fulfilled, satisfied, and at peace with nothing but your sense of being. Without the internet, without the television, without phones, without, you have to eat, but without foods that you don't really need to eat, without alcohol, without drugs, a way to find peace just through the sheer concentration of your mind and exerting a very simple technique which involves the incremental release of muscular tension, what I call scanning, Sqanning. And it comes from the word scanning because we're literally scanning our bodies, looking for pockets of tension that we can let go of. And as I said, that sensation is contagious. Once one part of you begins to let go, the others will follow because the body wants to be a whole. So you're just guiding it down that lane. It will take over at some point, and you will just naturally feel at ease and calm and still. And indulge that feeling. Study it. Acknowledge it. Validate it. Tuck it away in a pocket of your mind as an option in life. Not everything is attack, grab, think, work. A lot is. And it's very valid. That's how we accomplish things. That's how we succeed in life. But there's another element which has equal value, if not more. And that's the process of incremental release, total relaxation, physical and mental calm that takes you back to yourself so you can regroup, so you can feel who you are, you can get back in touch with yourself and feel at peace and relaxed and calm so that life doesn't consume you to the point where you become a hard, rigid, impermeable being. That's all we're doing. Balancing our life. So now we've done the specific areas of the body. So we've got a few minutes. We're going to go back and we're going to start where we started before. The hands are a metaphor for this process. That's all they are. This is a metaphor for the process, which is basically the process of consciousness and awareness of what it feels like to contract as opposed to what it feels like to release. You're studying that. You're becoming an expert in those sensations. We're all very good at contracting. And sometimes we get away from our ability to release, so we're trying to encourage a muscle memory. Breath is a signal that you are relaxing, so always take a breath. That's step 2. And as step 3, always take 15 to 30 seconds, a minute, however much time you like, to register and sit in that feeling of release. Concentrate on what it feels like. And as I did before through the specific areas, encourage your own body to release. You're searching in that moment of stillness pockets of tension, and you're giving yourself your own 3, 2, 1 release. You're like a detective. You're searching for clues. You're searching for the pockets of tension in your body, and you're gently, incrementally unwinding them. So, a few more times. Clasp the hands together. 3, 2, 1. Release. Let that sensation of release pass through your entire body. Follow the impulse to take a deep breath. Exhale. Letting even more tension out of your body, and now still, quiet observation. Search for those pockets of tension, and where you find them, just incrementally let them go. 3, 2, 1 in my neck, release. Top of my head, 3, 2, 1, release. And again, what I begin to feel as I do this is less compulsion. And by compulsion, I mean a sense that I have to be doing something. I should be doing something. I should be thinking something. I should be saying something. There's some action I should be taking. And that sense, that compulsive sensibility begins to dissipate as I become more relaxed, as my body comes to understand that, no, you don't. Not for 5 minutes anyway. You could take 5 minutes to do nothing. Sometimes we don't even give ourselves permission to take 5 minutes. And I'm suggesting that you give yourself that permission. And as that compulsion starts to dissipate, take advantage of that moment of still, quiet, contemplative observation of your own being. And recognize how gratifying it can be to just sit in your own skin and just be. 30 seconds. Deep breath. So we started at 4. The time is now 4:38. I've gone over again. I'm always trying to keep it at a half an hour, but that's what happens. As you start to lose your sense of compulsion and muscular tension and obligation and worries, time is a construct. It's something that we human beings have created to mark passage of our lives. And it's just, as I said, it's a construct, it's a structure, it's something we've created. There's no time. Animals have no time. There used to be no time. We just needed a way to mark the day to help us organize our days. And it's a very useful tool. We can't live without it. But as you begin to let go of that sense of compulsion, you also begin to drift away from your sense of time. It just doesn't matter. Ultimately, what does it matter? Well, it matters for our work and our obligations, but in this moment, in this 5 to 30 minutes of release, let it go. You don't have to know what day it is. You don't have to know what time it is. You don't have to be thinking about something that's on your desk you need to take care of. It'll be there when you get back. You don't have to be thinking about what happened yesterday, and you don't have to be thinking about what's happening tomorrow. It's all going to be there when you come back. It's okay to go to a place of nothingness. It's safe. You'll be all right. If we approach this process incrementally, if we don't try to set a goal that's so high that it's insurmountable, then it's very easy to approach this technique and say, I'm just going to do a little bit today. I'm just going to release a little bit of tension. And if you do it repeatedly, it's cumulative, and you will have released a lot of tension. The hardest part for me is always starting. I'll admit it. I've been doing it for years, for thousands of hours. It's always hard to start because what that requires is putting down the phone, turning off the TV, pushing aside the slice of chocolate cake, putting away the beer, putting down the magazine, all the things I use to distract myself and fulfill myself, I'm asking myself to put aside to just be with myself and my thoughts and my feelings, which are not always pleasant. But once you've passed through that gate and you've gotten to the other side, which is complete relaxation and a sense of still, calm, quiet nothingness, it's far more rewarding than any of those other things, or at least equal in reward. So try to get past the resistance and try to do this a few minutes a day. I'll be here hopefully 3 times a day. You can do it with me or you can do it on your own. I do this as much for myself as you because I benefited from it. I'm as high-strung and hyperactive and anxious and neurotic as the next guy. But I've learned how to calm myself through this very simple technique that I very much want to share with you. So again, we're going to wrap it up now. It's called Sqanning, Sqanning, just to be cute. It's basically scanning the body for pockets of tension through a process called incremental release. And by that I mean you set up a tension and then you release and you experience what it feels like to let go of the smallest amount of tension. And then you repeat that and you take that process through the different parts of your body, searching out pockets of tension, and 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, release. Repeat that. Repeat it. The top of the head. 3, 2, 1, release. Sit with it. See what that feels like. We're building a sense of awareness. That's all this process is. All that's required, the only challenge is that you take a few minutes, you set aside a few minutes to do nothing. Maybe the hardest thing in the world these days. We have such high expectations of how busy we're supposed to be, how educated we're supposed to be, how informed we're supposed to be. We just feel an incredible obligation to know lots of things and do lots of things. And I'm here to tell you, yes, that has value. You know what else also has value? Doing nothing. just being in your own skin. So I'm trying to encourage myself, and I'm encouraging you to build your sense of that value so that you then have a place that you can go to calm yourself. No one needs to understand it. You can do this anywhere. But you know for yourself, you're taking yourself back home to yourself, and that's it. So I will repost this on Facebook. I leave the last post I did up for a while on Facebook, and then when I take it off of my main page, I move it over to the Sqanning page on Facebook. I actually have a Sqanning page. Sqanning. Well, that's where all the lessons I've taught are, and you'll see me in various states of hyperactivity or calmness, depending on how successful I am. It's always a challenge. Sometimes I'm successful more than others, as you will find, but I'm always working on it because it means a great deal to me. I also have a YouTube page, Sqanning, and all the videos are posted there as well. So feel free to watch those. Everything's free as often as you want, or come back here and do it live with me. You're also free to ask any questions during a session. I will always answer any questions that come up on the chat feed there. And I'm going to try to be here again tonight around 8. Try to do it 3 times a day. And I appreciate your visiting. Come anytime. Give yourself the gift of being. And we'll see you next time. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.